Good afternoon, Buffs Nation. Boy, oh boy, do we got a lot to talk about. And I am thrilled to be joined here by Steve James of the Go Route here on YouTube, another local Denver YouTube account covering everything, Coach Prime, Colorado Buffs. So he's going to be on the show here in just a minute. Would appreciate it. If you're coming in the chat, hit that like. Let me know who's watching. Really excited to preview the game, the Oregon game coming up with him. Of course, before we get started, quick shout out to my good friend Martez Hawkins from Yo Martez. Use that promo code SCOBuffs for any Colorado apparel or other apparel that he has in his website, linked in the description. Without further ado, Steve is back from vacation to New York City. Steve, how's it going?
I'm great, man. I'm great. How are you doing today?
And I'm doing wonderful. I appreciate you asking. And before we get into the Oregon game, first off, how was your vacation? And did you get a chance to watch the late Buffs game there in the Eastern time zone?
Man, that was rough. That was a rough one. I was hoping they would flex the game to like a 7 o'clock Eastern, maybe a 9 o'clock Eastern, but you got to do what you got to do to get that game in. So I was up at what was that, midnight my time? No, it was 10 o'clock my time. In New York time, and I just wanted the game to be a blowout by halftime so I could go to bed. That was my hope, but it got too tight, so I was just there, watching in the hotel. My fiance was trying to sleep. I'm like, we can't sleep. I got to watch this game. So I'm trying to be as quiet as I can. But also what I want to say is that New York, I wore my CU hat around New York City and my CU jersey. Never got so much love from people across different state, far away from Colorado. Just Coach Prime, Colorado, do your thing. You guys are awesome. Keep changing the game. Everywhere I went, just keep getting, recognition of what the team is. Tell Coach Prime to keep doing what he's doing. So there's love everywhere when it comes to Colorado. I went to Trooper, got the game in. It was worth it. Got like 3 hours sleep, jumped on a flight, came back to Colorado. So it was a quick turnaround, but it was so worth it though.
Man, I love to hear that, especially getting all the love, from this channel. I don't know if I've shared this with you, Steve, but New York City is a top 4 market here for the David Talks Buffs channel.
Wow,
so
okay.
Everybody from New York, let me know which neighborhood you're watching from. Greatly appreciated. But yeah, it was wonderful to see the Buffs get the win on Saturday. Electric fashion. I'm glad the game, although didn't go to like our expectation going in, it definitely lived up to the hype, and we saw a great show, and we saw our best players play really well. And of course, Shadeur Sanders, looking like, if he's not the top quarterback in college football, man, oh man, is he right there. And because of Shadeur and the rest of the Buffs, we definitely have an opportunity to pull up another upset. I was looking at the betting odds today against Oregon, and I believe, at least on the money line right now, it's the same odds they were giving us against TCU going into week 1. So, who knows, what happens, but I thought that was pretty interesting. And I think the betting line for the spread, if it's not the same, maybe it's different by like 1 point or so. But man, let's go ahead and get into it. What are you expecting, from this game?
Yeah, Oregon, good team, great players. Probably the most, overall best team I see will play so far this young season. Yeah. Oregon is explosive on offense. They are, they have great personnel. They have a lot of experience. Bo Nix, who I think is almost 30, playing quarterback. He is just doing his thing in Oregon. So, and I respect Bo Nix because, he's had that one injury. He had that 1 year, so we got to play the next year. You got to get that year back. But this team is stacked, And the funny thing I think about it is I looked at Oregon's schedule so far. They played Portland State, who I didn't even know had a football team until that first week. Thought they were a basketball team only, not a football team. And then they played Texas Tech, who was probably their most competitive opponent that put them, went toe to toe with them. And then you had Hawaii. So I think they've been tested, Oregon, them being tested so far with Texas Tech when it comes to an upper echelon Power 5 program going toe to toe with them. I've looked a lot of that at that tape of that game. And as long as you have skill at positions and you have a great quarterback, Shadeur Sanders will be the very best quarterback they have played so far here in 2023.
Yes.
So there is no contest with that. So this is going to put a lot of pressure on the defensive side of the ball for Oregon. It's going to put that test in there. It's hard to look at Oregon tape besides that Texas Tech game because blowing out Portland State, blowing out Hawaii, it's really a one-sided affair. But I'm optimistic. I really am optimistic because I think Shadeur Sanders is coming into his own right now, being the Heisman talk. He's feeling that groove. He knows that he can dominate games. His confidence is just growing game by game. And I think as we get to this meat of this schedule, that's going to pay dividends for him because now Tua is back there. As long as you keep the game close, within shooting range, he can go ahead and get you back in that game and maybe get you that dub as well.
Totally agreed. I think Shadeur is he's only getting better from here. And I think, looking at our non-conference schedule right now, of course, like we all expected Colorado State to be a gimme, and that game was just different than expected. But I do think there is value in scheduling tougher non-conference opponents. And I think that we can say going into week 4, going into conference play, CU has definitely tested themselves against some quality non-conference opponents, and they've won in different ways. The one consistent or one of the consistencies within all of these wins is that Shadeur Sanders has played phenomenally when the moment has mattered the most. He's what's kept our team in all of our games, and then he's been the reason why we've been able to get over the top, shining in those big moments. Sometimes, on these 3rd and longs, like I don't know what he is right now on 3rd and long, but it seems like every time we need him to make a big play, he just has that composure of greatness in him. Like he says, the Brady mode, the Elway. I mean, how similar did that drive look to John Elway's the drive at the end of that Colorado State game? I mean, he is killing it. And I think that he's the type of guy that we've seen throughout his career so far in college football, that he rises to the occasion when the moment is its biggest. And I think you're going to get his best football going against the best opponent he's faced so far. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think honestly, his confidence within his own game, his own skill set is being tested every week, but I can see him building blocks and, hey, I can do this. Hey, when I need to dominate, I can dominate. And he's getting against that part of the schedule where he's playing all the Pac-12 schools that are going to be ranked here soon. And you know what? You're going to need someone in that CU team to stand out and be that guy, be that dude, and be that dog, be that leader. And I think Shadeur has proven so far, game in and game out, like you said, he is that guy. I wish we had Travis to also help us out on the wide receiver end and the defensive end. So CU's going to have some other guys step up for this game. Maybe some guys that haven't had a lot of, playing time are going to have to step up in this upcoming game. It's going to be a committee. It's going to be, every player come cohesive as a team, go to Autzen and try to pull out a W as best you possibly can. Either it's going to be a low-scoring game or a high-scoring game, whatever it is. As a team, try to get that win. But if they need to get in a shootout with Oregon, then Shadeur has got to help lead this team to get those points and keep us in the game. It's hard to predict what this game is going to be because I feel like Oregon was tested against Texas Tech, and as long as you go toe-to-toe with them and match them in good quarterback play and good play threats down the field and mix up some of your plays and make them get creative with it, play really good defense, you can stay in the game with Oregon. The only thing I hope I do see in this game from Colorado standpoint offensively is to see some type of a running game to get going here in
Yes.
week 4, because at some point you've got to be able to tell the defense, hey, we can run on you. Otherwise, you become one dimensional, and then they start just, loading the box up and say, hey, you're not going to run it. So, we're just going to go keep coming after you. Yeah, so that's kind of it's a mixed thing right now. You just want Shadeur to lead this team as far as they can until they get the other components of their offense kind of figured out. So
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. And I think, again, we're only going to see this team play cleaner football as the year moves forward. I think it's great that we haven't been playing our best football, but we still been winning, and we've been playing our best in moments, but having that 60-minute complete consistent game, we still haven't reached that yet. And this is an opportunity for us to play that fully complete, mistake free game coming up against Oregon, against an opponent where we're going to need to do that in order to get the victory. And let's talk a little bit about the running game, because we've been so used to right now seeing mainly Dylan Edwards there in the backfield, Anthony Hankerson, those being the two main backs right now. We're getting the guy that we were expecting, to be that, maybe not exactly a workhorse, but to be that number one option at the running back position, and that's Alton McCaskill. It was reported today that he's no longer wearing the yellow jersey, which is like limited contact, so he is gonna be good to go. I would assume that he's going to be playing. What, in your mind, what kind of elements does he add to this offense?
yeah, I mean, I kind of reminds me, McCaskill reminds me of the old Chris Brown running back in Colorado days, early
Yeah,
2000, upright runner. The one thing that I think McCaskill has to understand is that this O line is still kind of figuring out, what they're going to be and how physical they need to be. So it's a very much evolving thing offensively. So if he does want to run behind this offensive line, he's going to have to be really quick with his decision making. He's going to have to hit the gaps, hit the holes, and just go. There won't be a lot of dancing around the backfield. Sometimes you may not have to wait for the hole to even open. He may just have to go in instinct and just go know the fact the hole is going to be there. Because right now those holes are not big for any running back to get through. But we just need some type of running game to get going. I don't care, even if you run for up the middle, David, and someone's got to get the ball and got to get some yards, because right now it's good to, like you said, to develop this now and figure out where your offense is going to be. But
yeah,
at some point, when you get to that week 7, week 8, week 10 game, it's going to come back to get you where you're in the middle of the winter, and running game is going to be pivotal,
yeah,
very pivotal. So it's going to come back to get him at some point, and you hope they figure that out. If not, I'm fine with this first year. Shadeur Sanders throwing the ball for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. If that's who we are end up being, I'm fine with that. Next year,
yeah.
we'll develop more running back, develop more offensive line. But you would like to see it happen, to be a more complete team, to get up a higher ranking, and to get against better opponents. But if Shadeur wants to, go long ball and make it crazy and go for the Heisman, honestly, that's fine too. That's entertaining to me. Apparently, the rest of the country likes to watch it as well. So everyone, come on board. Let's watch this Colorado football team do some damage. How about that?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. And I think, yeah, with you can't go wrong with putting the ball in Shadeur's hands, to go win a ball game. I mean, I really appreciated how we started out the game against TCU, just hitting that quick passing game, really quick, getting the offense in rhythm. That's something that I'm really hoping for this upcoming weekend against Oregon, is that we can start with that faster pace again, start with that rhythm, because if we're not playing with that pace, then it's been a little bit of a slow start for us right now. And so that's going to be one thing that I'm really hoping that we're going to see. And I think too, to your point, with looking further down into the schedule, the season, the most physical teams that we play, they're at that latter half of the year, where we play Oregon State, where we play Utah, and so we have the opportunity to start kind of building that line play in order to meet what's going to be necessary against facing those teams. And I think Alt McCaskill can really help that out. He's a bigger back than what we have right now, or who we have been playing. I still think Smoke might be a little bit smaller than Alton, but he's going to be a bigger back. We should have a little bit more success running, I think, because of his size, because I do think that he's the most skilled runner within the group right now. And I mean, you don't do what he did at Houston, by a coincidence. He's incredibly talented, and we know that he's only gotten bigger and stronger throughout his rehab process now for like the last year and a half. So, and he's a good receiver. I think that sometimes, I think the DNVR podcast was bringing this up when I was listening to it this afternoon. They were talking about how it's not going to be as apparent kind of what we're doing in certain situations, running or passing the ball. You got Alton back there that can pass protect really well because of his bigger size. So I think it adds some support to this offensive line and can make their lives a little bit easier. But I'm hoping that we really see Van Wells back here this week. And again, big credit to Hank Zelin. I keep pronouncing his name wrong. I think it's Hank Zelinskis. I could be getting it wrong. True freshman. Obviously, it is hard for a true freshman offensive lineman to come in here and start and dominate. And hopefully we see an offensive line that's a little healed up and that can come in there and dominate. Because I think. I want to talk to you about now what you've seen from that Texas Tech game, but I think that we will have the opportunity to run against, fronts in which we have the numbers. But let's get into Oregon's defense. What do you think are some opportunities that we have to exploit Oregon with?
Yeah, I think right now, as we all know, just the little bit of research I've done on Oregon is that their back end, it's their cornerbacks and defensive backs. They seem to be giving up a lot of yards, big plays. So I think that's plays to the advantage of Colorado and Shadeur Sanders and Sean Lewis when it comes to attacking that defensive field. Don't forget, Nico Reed is back there, who was a CU buff and is now in Oregon. So he will have a little chip on his shoulder to try to, play well against his former team and teammates. Actually, probably not teammates because they're probably all gone, probably. Just team.
Yeah.
So there's some motivation for, Colorado to, take advantage of that on the Oregon side. But I think Oregon up front, defensive line, linebackers, I think they're pretty stout. I think they're pretty good. Mm-hmm. It's hard to tell because, like I said, they played Hawaii and they played Portland State. So they don't have a lot of tape about playing a good quality offense who can have a deep threat, but have so many options to go ahead and throw the ball around the field. Colorado has those skill set, those skill players to go ahead and do that against Oregon. So I think it's going to be a good test to see how Colorado's matched up against an equally, talented team. When it comes to that. Now, Oregon may have more depth, but at this point in range, you line up 11-11, you play your game, and you go ahead and do that. There's not really time to, bring a lot of guys in. So I think Colorado, offensively, it's the defensive backfield. That's where Colorado's going to have to shine. That's where they have their strength at.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think with the success, that Shadeur and a lot of the wide receivers had going against Nico Reed, it has us entering this game, I think, from an offensive perspective, pretty confident. I think, I had a chat yesterday with Sports Chat 503, who's a big Oregon fan. He's been covering them on YouTube for a handful of years now. And, he was saying, he's like, man, there is an opportunity for this thing to definitely, turn into a shootout. He thinks that the defense right now is improved from where it's at last year, but it definitely is not something where he feels like you can trust it yet. And so even though it was a little bit of a low scoring game against Texas Tech, weird things happen in Lubbock. Lubbock is a tough place to play. I feel like they're always getting upsets there in Lubbock, Texas Tech is. And so while you want to take a lot of positives from that game, from the Colorado perspective, just like Shiloh was talking about today in this press conference, I mean, every game is its own and you can take things from other games. But again, you just got to go and play the game, and you got to play it confidently. And I think one thing that I feel really good about talking about Shiloh has been hearing what he was saying about the defense. Again, he thinks that, well, my impression is that he thinks this defense is going to play its best game coming up this week. And he believes that, again, just correcting the mistakes, taking care of your assignments, not trying to do too much, but just doing your job. Hearing him speak about that, I think that this defense is really set up to play better, and we have a challenge against us because up for us because they run the ball well and they throw a lot of these short crossing routes. This is going to be a great opportunity to show that like we've made some adjustments, and that was one thing that he talked about. He said we got the best coaching staff in the country, and we are going to make the appropriate adjustments this week to stop that. And so it's a very exciting opportunity for CU to show great improvement. And I think like that's what I'm really looking for, is to see them shoring up some of these weak areas that have been exploited with the defense. But what are some other things that you're looking forward to in terms of maybe strategy on offense or defense, or with certain players that you're expecting to step up or you want to see step up?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that Kermani McClain might get his, first game this upcoming weekend, but it looks like he's not ready to take that stage so far yet. So it's just going to be quarterback by committee to go ahead and get, the best matchups we can and play up against those receivers for Oregon, which are pretty special. I mean, I think for right now, it's about just we'll find out soon the first quarter if it's going to be a shootout or if it's going to be because Oregon can run. Oregon can run the ball. So they have two options. They can either get in a shootout with Colorado and becomes, 80-80 by halftime, or it's going to be something to where it's, slow grind. It might be even a carbon copy of the Nebraska game where Nebraska just wanted to slow it down. And then at some point, Nebraska just couldn't hang on to anymore based off turnovers. And Colorado's defense is, opportunistic. They go ahead and they find that ball and they get those INTs, fumbles, strips, and they get the recovery. So Colorado's defense is definitely skilled when it comes to being aggressive and having players on that team to go by instinct to make plays. Mm-hmm. That is to their advantage. The key thing is just with Oregon being such an explosive offensive unit, and also their defense is pretty good, is just keeping it close and staying with them. Either that's 10-10 or, 40-40, whatever it is, just stay close to Oregon. Because if you give Shadeur Sanders a chance to get you back in the game or get you a win, that's all you need is a chance. And he gives you the best opportunity to do that. And, it's going to be a great game to watch. It's a totally different vibe than what it was last weekend when it was just about, sunglasses and you said this and we're playing you guys. We have Fox and ESPN here. I feel like this after the game ended at 3 a.m., 2:30 my time. And I was, barely had no thought in my head. I have no idea where I was. Just was so lost. I was kind of thinking, can next week just be a normal week? Just a normal, press conference. No one say anything. I know Dan Lanning made those comments like months ago about, what has Colorado done in this conference? And it's kind of like, I don't want to make anything out of this. It's hard enough to go into Autzen and to play Oregon. It's already ranked. It's prime time. It's on ABC. Everyone's watching it. The viewers are going to be there. We don't need to hype this up anymore. Let's just line up and play and see what happens. Because in the end, these are just going to be, kids. These are 18 to 22-year-old kids that are playing. And I feel like we need to, keep this game even kill as you possibly can for the players. They can focus on their assignments and focus on trying to win a game. Because too many penalties in that CSU game. It was kind of hard to watch. CU was not playing their game, what they have been showing the first 2 weeks. So it's nice to see them calm down and kind of compose themselves. But we can't lose or we can't let a quarter get away from us in Autzen and Oregon. Because if we do, that one quarter could be 14, 20 points. And then you have to make that up fast. So let's just keep it chill. Let's just keep it even kill. Let's just get to Saturday and let's just have a good performance and hope Shadeur can help us out, but just keep it close and just play good team ball. and just keep doing whatever CU is doing the first 3 weeks. Keep that up. Just like Shiloh said, every week kind of build on it and be a better team than they were last game.
Man, that is just wonderfully said. I think the last 3 weeks, I mean, I've loved it. I've loved that we've had so much to talk about, back-to-back rivalry weeks. I mean, that was filled with all sorts of drama, things to talk about. Of course, the TCU game was super hype because everybody thought we were going to lose by 100 or whatever. And, we knew that wasn't going to be, how that whole thing was going to turn out. But man, it feels nice going into this week that both Coach Prime and Dan Lanning, they're just like, nah, we're focused on this game. This is going to be about the game. I mean, when you're looking at it from a fight perspective, I mean, this fight sells itself. You have 2 ranked teams. You have 2 of the best uniform teams right now going against each other. And you got 2 quarterbacks that should, and I'm guessing, are in the Heisman discussion. I mean, Bo Nix is playing fantastic football right now. And I think a big key to this game, or let me step back for a second with what you said about these are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids playing a game. It is nice that they get this week to focus on ball, and that's something that I'm really looking forward to. And that's also why I think that I'm expecting to see improvement from this team, because as I love the show, I love everything that's going on campus. Don't get me wrong. I love that Big Noon's coming back for the USC game here in a couple of weeks. Like, I love it. But, all the interviews and things like that, it can just be a lot on top of going out and performing at your best. And I think that this is going to be a good week for CU to just focus about the game, not have to worry about the talk shows or anything like that. But again, like with two and Shiloh, they've been on reality TV their whole life. They are used to this, obviously. This is no different for them. But some of our other players, this is the first time they're experiencing anything like this. And it's nice for them to have a week where you can just focus on handling your business. So I did want to maybe wrap up with some keys to the game. I think there are 2 big keys to the game for me. Number 1 is winning the turnover battle, with the caveat that we don't turn over the ball this time. That would be phenomenal. Like you said, this defense has generated so many turnovers, especially in the red zone. And if we can win the turnover battle, that's going to give us, that opportunity to win. Just like, I mean, we turned the ball over against TCU, but we won that turnover battle, and we've won the turnover battle every week, but we've been turning it over too, doing ourselves no favor. And then the other one is just, I am fine with Oregon beating us in some ways, but not if it's just them running up the gut, running us to death. If they are going to get this victory, I want it to be through a fantastic performance of Bo Nix out-dueling Shadeur. I feel like if this is a duel between both quarterbacks, I feel better about our odds going with Shadeur than we do Bo Nix. And it's going to be important for us to be dedicated to stopping the run, because like you said, this is going to be the toughest challenge we have yet. What are your keys to the game?
Yeah, I think the keys to the game is just to play good ball, play good team ball. Know the fact that it's going to be, a hostile environment. The Oregon Duck stadiums, their fans are great. They're definitely super loud, and expect it to be a big game. They've already played 3 big games. This is number 4. So I think all of that, angst and all that anxiety about, oh my gosh, another one. I don't think this team has any of that. They know what to expect. They know how to, chill himself out and just kind of, just focus on the game, focus on their assignments. That's the most important most important thing. And then just play. The defense needs to go ahead and make sure that they don't let too many big plays go on the top of them on the backside. But then it's also good to know that Shadeur can come in and actually, go toe to toe with Bo Nix if we have to. Again, Oregon has that X factor, the running game. They can slow it down. So it's a matter of CU just matching Oregon toe-to-toe. And that's kind of what Texas Tech did. Texas Tech went back and forth with Oregon. They went ahead and they were, when they got a turnover, they would try to capitalize on, but then Oregon would take it back. So it's a matter of just keep punching at Oregon, keep staying in the game. As long as you do that, you give Shadeur Sanders enough chance. And for him to have that 98-yard, drive in that fourth quarter, it shows you that he has the ability and the confidence to do those things. And he can go ahead and put the team on his back and go get that win and continue to drive it down the field if he needs to in overtime and keep getting more points if he has to. So I'm fully confident in Shadeur. I'm fully confident in this team. Hope for a nice, chill, relaxing week. Nothing too crazy. Let's just focus on football. Have a nice week. And let's just go to Autzen and see what we can pull it out. I don't think it's going to be a 21-point spread, as Oregon is saying. Again, this is number 11 versus 19. This isn't number 11 versus 62 or whatever. These teams are tight. I know Oregon, may not think it that way. The media may not think it that way. I know Oregon has a lot of, good players. They were ranked high when the season started. But as we stand here in September, 11 versus 19. So I think it's going to be a lot tighter than that than people want it to be. But if you want to make CU the underdog, totally fine with that. Let's just play the game and then see what happens.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I think when I saw the odds, right now, again, like when I'm looking back at my season prediction, this is one that I did not have the Buffs winning, but hell yeah, I'm gonna put some money on them taking care of business, this week in Oregon. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. And again, I think this team, they play their best when they're feeling doubted. They play their best when their backs are against the wall, when the moment is at its biggest. And there is no doubt in my mind that this is going to be a game, and this is going to be a hell of a show to watch. And there are a lot of ways in which CU can get this upset. They can take care of business and move to 4-0 with welcoming USC, into Boulder the following week. I did want to make a comment on here really quick. Mac Ant, bring it up. That's right. Shiloh and Bo Nix have personal business. Shiloh was giving him hell in the SEC. Bo knows not to play around with Shiloh. And yeah, I think based off of that and what my conversation with Ryan yesterday, Sports Chat 503, he was saying how, Bo Nix can run, but they're really trying to develop him more into being a passer first. And so I think especially when you got a guy that has already rocked you like Shiloh has, I think you will see Bo Nix emphasize, the passing aspect a little bit more. Oregon emphasized that with their utilization of Bo Nix, but that's not to say they're not going to be running the read option, because the read option has still had success against this team, and it's going to be a good challenge to see if we've made the correct adjustments to stop it. So, any last words, last insights on this game before we wrap up, Steve?
No, actually, I'm good. I'm just trying to have a nice, relaxing week of college football and watching CU media this week. Again, got people in New York. You guys are awesome. It was great to talk to a lot of you about Colorado football here. And, you guys are watching. We appreciate, all the numbers coming from the East Coast. I think it was like 8 million people watching it at 2:00 in the morning on the East Coast. So, I appreciate all the love coming to Colorado football. I see you fans. We all appreciate it. And I'm just looking forward to a good, solid game, a nice, chill week. Hopefully we'll come out with a win on this upcoming Saturday. Beyond that, I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a lot tighter than most people are going to predict. But I'm ready for the Shadeur Sanders to lead us into this game and to hopefully come out with a win from Autzen. So.
Man, I couldn't have said it better. I'm looking forward to it too. I'm so glad conference play is here, because the football is going to be amazing in the Pac-12 this year. And before you let us go, Steve, or before I let you go, let everybody know who's watching, where they can find you, and what to be expecting from you and your channel coming up this week and in the future.
Yeah, no, thanks, David. Right now, go find me on YouTube at the Go Route YouTube channel, talking pretty much all things Colorado football. Diving in some topics when it comes to Coach Prime, Colorado football, Heisman talks, Travis Hunter. I'm just going to keep my 2 cents and a little bit of my insight about Colorado football, and also my history of watching Colorado football, as I have watched Colorado for so many decades. So I appreciate you guys checking with us today live here on YouTube. And David, thanks for your time today. I appreciate it. Go Buffs, and I can't wait for this upcoming Saturday. Hopefully try to get another win and go 4-0. Let's go do it.
Yeah, man. Let's enjoy the show. And again, anybody who y'all need to go subscribe to Steve's channel. I'm just going to say it right now. You need to do it. Go in the description into my video, hit the Go Route link right there. Get Steve. We got to get Steve to 100 subscribers. Good Lord. His content is too good, to have that minimal of subscribers. It's time we get you on that road to 100, man. So, we'll be supporting you. I can't wait to talk to you next week about how this game unfolds. And again, I'm really appreciative of your time, Steve.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for checking in. Hit that like on the way out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as you watch the replay. And as always, Go Buffs.